Chapter 4 Part 4. The static wasn't a whisper for Anthony.
It was a swarm.
A seething, electric hive filling his skull, vibrating behind his eyes, crawling under his skin. He clawed at his bandaged arm, not from the physical pain of the burn, numbed somewhat by the antibiotic Russo had administered, but from the horrific sensation of insects burrowing into the ruined flesh. His eyes, wide and unseeing, darted around the small cabin of the Persephone, fixing on mundane objects with abject terror. The whirring ceiling fan became a vortex of metallic wings. A coiled rope writhed like a nest of vipers. The flickering TV screen pulsed with diseased, crawling light. "Get it off! Get them out!" Anthony screamed, thrashing against Russo's restraining grip, his good hand batting wildly at invisible horrors. "Hold him! He's tearing the dressings!" Russo bellowed, pinning Anthony's shoulders with his considerable weight. "Megan! Sedative! Cooler! Second shelf, yellow vial." Megan scrambled, fumbling with the medical cooler Doc Evans had provided. She found the yellow vial, pre-filled syringe. "How much?"
"Half. Now."
Russo grunted as Anthony arched violently, a guttural cry tearing from his throat. Angela watched, frozen for a second, torn between her mother's fragile calm and Anthony's descent into hell. Lena lay still on the cot, her eyes closed now, breathing slow and steady, the terrifying visions replaced by an exhausted, heavy sleep. Dose 0 had worked. For her. But its shadow had fallen on Anthony. Megan injected the sedative into Anthony's good arm. It took agonizing seconds. His thrashing diminished to violent tremors, his cries subsiding into ragged, panicked breaths. His eyes remained wide open, fixed on the ceiling, seeing horrors only he could perceive. "Ben," he rasped, sweat pouring down his face. "Ben, don't, the water's too cold." Russo sagged back, breathing heavily. "Fever's feeding it. Infection plus whatever that is." He gestured helplessly at Anthony's terrified eyes. Like Lena's static, but angrier. Raw. Angela knelt beside Anthony, ignoring the dampness seeping through her jeans. She took his trembling, unburned hand. It was ice-cold despite the fever. "Anthony, look at me. It's Angela." His gaze flickered towards her, unfocused, pupils dilated. "Angela." His voice was a child's whisper, lost and scared. "The beast in the walls. Ben put them there. He's laughing." A shudder ran through him. "Mother says be still. The buzzing means control." His eyes rolled back slightly, the sedative pulling him under, but the terror remained etched on his face. The TV still played, muted now, showing endless loops of Eleanor's heartfelt plea juxtaposed with grainy stills from Angela's broadcast, Anthony's desperate swim, Ben's haunted face. The Chiron read, "Moretti heir suffers psychotic break? Experts weigh in on fugitive's mental state." Eleanor's narrative was crystallizing. Angela and Megan were dangerous manipulators. Anthony was a mentally unstable victim. Ben was a tragic, deluded figure. The truth was drowning in expertly crafted static. A soft knock sounded on the cabin door. Mrs. Henderson peered in, her face grim. "How is he?" "Sedated," Russo said, wiping sweat from his brow. "But the fever's high, and his mind, it's gone somewhere dark." Mrs. Henderson stepped inside, her gaze sweeping over the scene. Lena sleeping peacefully, Anthony lost to inner demons, Angela pale and shaken. She nodded, a fierce resolve hardening her features. Eleanor's lawyers just served papers.
"To the whole damn town.
Cease and desist orders. Threatening lawsuits for harboring fugitives and defamation. Says Harbor's End is complicit in a campaign of terror." She snorted. "Terror? We're fishin' folk tryin' to survive her poison." She looked at Angela. "But she's also makin' an offer." Angela's blood ran cold. "What offer?" Humanitarian gesture, Mrs. Henderson spat the words. "Says she'll unfreeze your mama's medical funds. Restart her treatment. Provide top-tier psychiatric care for the Moretti boy. All charges dropped for you and Megan." She paused, her eyes boring into Angela's. if you hand over Anthony and everything you took from Split Rock immediately, with a public apology admitting you coerced him and fabricated Ben's story under duress. The cage. Gilded again, but unmistakable. Eleanor would save Lena and Anthony, but only by erasing the truth and reclaiming her lost heir, likely silencing him permanently in some luxurious Swiss facility. Angela and Megan would be free, but complicit in the lie, forever branded. Harbor's End would be bought off with temporary relief, its rebellion crushed. She wants him back, Angela whispered, looking at Anthony's tortured face. Silenced.
Contained.
And dose zero, she knows we have it. She wants that too. To weaponize it. Mrs. Henderson stepped closer, placing a surprisingly strong hand on Angela's shoulder. Old Man Peters is on the radio with the others. The flotilla. We took a vote. Her gaze swept the cabin, Lena, Anthony, Angela. Harbor's End says no. Not one boat will turn you in. Not one door will open to her lawyers or her gardeners. You lit the signal fire, girl.
We see it.
We stand with it. She squeezed Angela's shoulder. But you need to fight smarter. Fight dirtier. Find her weak spot. After Mrs. Henderson left, Angela sat on the floor beside Anthony's restless form, the empty dose zero syringe and Robert's notebook in her lap. The sedative had pulled Anthony under, but his breathing was still shallow, his brow furrowed even in sleep. The static was still there, buzzing beneath the surface. She opened the notebook, the brittle pages crackling. She bypassed the terrifying alchemy of Dose Zero's creation, the human trial logs. She flipped to the very beginning. To the origins. Project Genesis. Subject Zero Acquisition. Robert's handwriting here was different. Excited. Full of the wonder of discovery, untouched by the later horror. Specimen acquisition. Isolated tidal pool. Western fracture. Split rock. Unprecedented aconitum ferox variant exhibiting symbiotic growth with lithothamnian sp. coralline algae. Designated Subject Zero. Unique mineral uptake from ferrous basalt seep hypothesized as catalyst for observed accelerated bioalkaloid production. Asterisk. Initial cultivation successful. Subject Zero thrives in controlled mineral bath replication fracture environment. Bioalkaloid extraction yields compound XR7. Potency off the charts. Cardiotoxic effects in murine models extreme but predictable. Potential for targeted application if stability can be achieved. Asterisk. Eleanor fascinated. Provides unlimited funding. Sees agricultural revolution. Pushes for accelerated human analog trials. I protest. Ethical boundaries. She dismisses. Sentiment hinders progress, Robert. The pressure. Angela stopped reading. Subject Zero. Not just a plant. A specific, unique organism found in one place. The bleeding stone fracture at Split Rock. The source. The wellspring of the poison and, paradoxically, the cure. She looked at the vial of Dose Zero catalyst, the last remaining half-dose, glowing faintly blue in the dim cabin light. It was derived from Subject Zero. It was the key to the static. It could cure Anthony, as it had cured her mother. Or it could amplify his terror into permanent madness. The risk was terrifyingly real. Then, her eyes fell on a footnote, scribbled in the margin of the Subject Zero entry. Almost an afterthought. Note: Subject Zero exhibits marked photoperiod sensitivity. Bioalkaloid production ceases entirely under prolonged artificial light. Reverts to benign state. Natural daylight cycle essential for toxin/catalyst regeneration. Photoperiod sensitivity. It needed the natural rhythm of day and night to produce its poison and its cure. Without it, it became inert. Benign. A plan, reckless and dangerous, began to form in Angela's mind. Not to administer the last Dose Zero to Anthony. Not yet. But to use Subject Zero itself. Or rather, the absence of what it needed. Eleanor's glass house wasn't just a symbol of her power, it was her fortress, her control center. A place of perpetual, artificial light. A place utterly devoid of natural cycles. A place where Subject Zero, if it existed there, would be powerless. Did Eleanor have it? Had Robert given her a sample before he realized her true intentions? Had Ben found it? The key to her control over the toxin and potentially the key to breaking its hold on Anthony. Anthony moaned in his sedated sleep, a fresh wave of terror flickering across his face. The walls bleeding like the rock, Mother's voice in the static. Angela closed the notebook. The static wasn't just Anthony's affliction, it was a tether. A psychic link Eleanor could exploit. Angela felt it now, the chilling certainty that Eleanor knew Anthony was suffering. That she was using his terror, amplifying it somehow through the twisted connection forged by family, by trauma, by the poison her empire was built upon. Fighting smarter, fighting dirtier, finding the weak spot. Angela looked at the vial of dose 0, then out the porthole at the rain-lashed cove, the loyal flotilla guarding them. She thought of Subject 0, the root of it all, potentially caged in perpetual light within Eleanor's sterile fortress. A place where the bleeding stone's power died. Salt met stone to create fire. Now, fire needed to find the root. Angela Mitchell, the Harbor's End girl who had become Eleanor Moretti's nemesis, knew what she had to do. It wasn't just about saving Anthony anymore. It was about killing Subject 0 at its source.